We are back on Morning Line. We kind of played some musical chairs here, shook things up because, you know, the Salvation Army does a great job, as you already heard from Major Frizzell, you know, getting the word out. But it always helps to have someone that many of you may recognize, especially if you're a wrestling fan. Yeah, you're a Hall of Famer with WWE, okay? Where was it? We were listening to the music that you'd be introduced to. It was very calm.
Nick, you were
Double J, Jeff Jarrett. Good to meet you, sir.
Morning, sir. You're really cranking things off. I couldn't get my tweet up quick enough to bash you.
That's
so,
okay.
No,
he laid down for hope.
I'm kidding.
Okay.
I'm kidding.
You did. Look at you now, Ben. You were really pumped up in the day.
So you're saying
no, you're fit now.
That's called a backhanded compliment.
I'm going to get a backhand here. No,
back in the day.
Oh,
so
come
what
on.
about today?
Well, you know, you see all these professional athletes that all of a sudden retire and they give to causes like this and they're involved and they shrink a little bit in size. It's nice to have you on.
Shrink in physical size, the heart gets bigger.
There you go.
That's
I like
what
that.
I
That's
like.
good. That's good.
So you're on.
Major?
How'd you get involved with the Salvation Army?
You know, I could talk between now and the kickoff concert this Thursday and tell you the whole story. But
sure.
The last year of my life has been an incredible roller coaster, highs and lows. And I'll just say, in one of the low parts, it was about a year ago this time, I worked with some folks in Tampa with the Salvation Army. And just sort of one thing led to another, and I came back home last December and hounded Misty, who's in the house with us, and said I want to get involved.
That's great.
It's just that simple.
This cause just touched you and what they did, their work.
Really, really personal, deep connection. And just sort of one thing led to another. Back in January of this year, I was just doing straight service work, I guess, you know, moving furniture and all kinds of things. And then as the concert series, the Red Kettle challenge sort of started coming along, and then we said, hey, let's do something with the Preds. And Nick, I cannot tell you how happy I am how we're heading into this year. It really is.
Well, I mean, because of you, I mean, part of it is last year you were talking about you raised $330,000. And now he comes in and he says, how much you want to raise?
Yeah, he wants to do a sellout. So he's, you know, he challenged us to think bigger, and because he knows Nashville and Nashville can do it. And so he said, we need to do a sellout. What does it cost to make sure that every bed is full every month so that lives can be changed? And I said, that's 575 months.
That's what the goal is.
So so that makes it $575,000.
Okay, so a considerable upgrade over what you raised last time.
You were bashing me about back in my in-ring
I wasn't bashing you. I'm a fan. I thought that was cool as could be. We watched it again Googled it this morning. It was great on YouTube. But yeah, you're a promoter, and so the idea is you want to get the word out about these events.
Yes.
All right, so let's be clear then. All right, so what is the Red Kettle Challenge? How it works? Looking for companies, churches, civic groups to get involved?
It is, and when I look at this kettle, you know, I grew up in this town. Like we've been around here forever. You're a lot older than me, so I'm going to get you back here in this. But no, I always looked at the kettle. Obviously, ring the bell, you donate. But now I look at it in a completely different light. That kettle represents 1 month of housing for one person, and that's pretty strong. So what we're trying to do is $1,000 is what that kettle is. But the Red Kettle Challenge is, and he can talk more about the locations and everything, but Thursday night at the Preds, right there on the plaza, we're having a kickoff concert. Big and Rich, Lone Star, Phil Vassar.
That's awesome.
It's incredible, but it's all about creating awareness. You guys are the fantastic media partners. I've done radio, but as I heard in the earlier segment, we've you know, the days of ringing are much more concentrated.
Right.
But you know, nowadays I got 5 kids. It's all about online. You can go online.
That's what I was going to say. This is almost
easy.
quaint now. I mean, it's nice and it's convenient, but who carries cash anymore?
Yes.
And if you want more besides just change, which is wonderful, I give it when I walk out of the Kroger. But online now, you can go on. That's the point.
Absolutely. Online giving, and it's, again, I'll let you, I'll defer to you because you know all the exact ins and outs. But we are doing the ringing all over the Nashville community. But it's a concentrated days. But, you know, our goal is to raise $575,000, which will house everything. And Sean Henry and the Preds organization, you talk about the rock star, all-star of this entire season. Thursday night is.
So it's this Thursday night.
This Thursday.
Where will it be set up? Is it going to be?
Yeah, right in front of Bridgestone, right where they hold their
where
parties.
They have it all the time. Yeah.
They've been very gracious to us, and you heard the lineup when you have Big and Rich and Phil Vassar and Lone Star and New North.
Yeah.
And when these groups are coming together because they believe in changing lives. They've been very gracious to us, and they're calling on the community to say, let's do this. It's interesting from the nonprofit side. It seems like a daunting challenge, but when you get people who are like Jeff, and you get people who are like Sean Henry, they say, let's do this and let's have it done. And so we're inviting, it's 575 teams that will go to the SalvationArmyNashville.org and set up their own kettle and say, I can ring the bell, whether it's online or in person, but more importantly, I can help someone change their life by providing them with 1 month of housing, so that when they walk in, they know there's a place for them to be safe, a place for them to experience peace and believe in happiness once again. And when you see it, and Jeff is around the Salvation Army a lot, but when you see it, it changes your life, and you say, of course they should be in. So the SalvationArmyNashville.org, and we invite people either to give to a kettle. I have a kettle on there. I'm sure you'll have a kettle on there. The Preds will have one for Thursday night. So either give to someone else's kettle or to start a kettle, but to change a life.
That's awesome. Let's take a phone call or two if that's all right, you guys. Is that right? Let's go to Curtis. Good morning. Hi, Curtis.
What's up?
Hey, Curtis. What's on your mind?
I just want to say a comment, man, to Jarrett, man. Hey, I've been watching that dude since I was 7 years old, man, growing up, man. Tell him doing what he's doing.
That's awesome. I appreciate it.
I appreciate that, Curtis. So how old are you? 17, 18? You've been watching about 10 years, right?
Man, I don't want to tell everybody you're a senior citizen now.
Hey! Are you on Nick's team or my team? I'm kidding.
Come on now.
No, I appreciate you calling in, Curtis, and SalvationArmyNashville.org is where to get.
Well, that's the thing. You're going to have fans like him, and just bringing you on board, and of course all those acts that you're going to have performing at the party. Promotion is what it's about sometimes, and you're right. You're right. You guys come on, and you're so knowledgeable, and you do all the work behind the scenes. It sometimes helps to have someone who knows, just like the Preds, and it's what they do for a living and promoting. And when you have the passion behind, because you've seen what they do. Gets the word out.
And the other thing I want to touch on, and again, he can say it much better than I can, but you know, when I looked at the kettle nowadays, I look at it completely different. As a promoter, we promote, but we have to promote what the real message is, and that real message is, like I said, for a month. The other thing is that, again, we grew up in this town. You see people in the street corners, and you say, oh, he's homeless. Well, these guys have taught me the real, when you drill it right down to it, it's people experiencing homelessness. And there's a big difference. We want people to go from the experience of homelessness into supportive housing. These guys give them the tools, to give them the life skills, to transition through life to a new day, a brighter day. And when I heard that for the first time, and I went home and I talked to my wife Karen, and just hearing the different things, it's like I'll never look at the guy on the street corner who has a sign or people, and I just passed right coming down here. You see those communities, and they're experiencing homelessness. That's tough. And everybody has their ups and downs in lives. Believe me, I know that as well as anybody. But when you give them an opportunity to get back on their feet, and you see a success story, and these guys got hundreds, if not thousands of success stories, it really, really touches your heart. And that's what I want to do. I want to bring awareness to it. Sean Henry, like I said, in the Preds, and everything we're doing with all the media partners is to tell Nashville. Again, you know, I grew up long before the Preds, long before the Titans, long before downtown was thriving. The money's here. We just want people to really dial in and hear the message, and we want to get people out of experiencing homelessness.
Yeah, it's here more than ever before with the growth of the city. So now you said you were down in the Florida. I'm just curious. He told a story that was very interesting about this man with his two twin boys that showed up. So you could have attached your name to any cause and be a big help. So I'm just wondering, what was it that got you? Said the last year you've had ups and downs and the like, and but I'm just curious, what was it that grabbed you to get involved to this degree? Because you could just give and not be involved, but you put your name with it.
When you see something firsthand, and I mean, it's no secret, I went through alcohol treatment last year in Tampa. That's where I went in Tampa. And you know, when we got to work on addiction and the disease and learn about it and really peel the layers of onion of what it goes down to, I had every waking moment when I was in treatment, 16 hours a day, to really focus on that. The Salvation Army literally has the same type program, and they have those guys, and they're working. They really change lives. And that's my long-term goal that I've already hit him up with, is that in the flood of 2010, Nashville's ARC was flooded, washed away. It hadn't been back since. So I look at this as Jeff, as a promoter. This is step one this year. Long term, I want to build a rehabilitation center back here in Nashville.
Is that the plan?
That's Jeff's plan. It's interesting. You know, I love it. You know what's wonderful is you inferred that we got Jeff on board. The truth is Jeff just showed up, and he kept showing up, and he said, "I'm going to help you." And what's amazing about the Salvation Army ministry is when it gets in your heart and you start changing lives, it really becomes addictive in meaning. This time of year, you see it on every Christmas movie, right? The idea of helping others, changing lives. Well, we have the privilege of living that. And so for us, it wasn't really a matter of getting Jeff on board. He was knocking his way into this, whether we had him or not. And but what has happened, of course, in which you can see, is he ended up a godsend for those that we serve, right? Is his heart for others, those who are suffering in addiction, those who need restoration to family and community. His heart for that is so real and authentic that I wouldn't limit what the Lord wants to do or what the Lord has placed on his heart. Right. And so this is where we see as a community, what would we like to do for our neighbors? And we are determined that there should be at least a minimum quality of life. I don't believe that any family should sleep in their car for one night, forget two, and no one should be in their car for 2 weeks or for 2 months. And I don't believe that anyone should be sleeping on the streets of Broadway. It's not necessary in this community. So how do we change the conversation? Get people like Jeff, get a community of people who will believe that by sharing good news and by meeting human needs, that we can have the same success in individual lives that we have with corporations and with high-rises and condos. It's just a matter of the community coming around each individual and saying, you do not need to experience that here. We have that power. Jeff obviously has that passion, and we won't limit what the community will do. We'll just make a lot of noise in doing it, right? And let people bring their gifts, Jeff's gifts, the artist's gifts, the Predator's gifts. Let them bring their gifts to bear so that lives can be changed. And the beauty is that the Salvation Army operates today in 130 countries because the lives that are changed keep coming back. And it's not only Jeff's, there's other partners that we've had that we've said.
Are there bell ringers? Will there be bell ringers in every city in this state?
Oh,
I mean, I'm just wondering. I mean, it's statewide, of course, right?
Yeah,
and there's Knoxville, Memphis, and in between.
It's worldwide.
Yeah.
Well,
you won't find hardly a zip code without a bell ringer in it.
Right.
Yeah. And the truth is there's a lot of communities that are watching Nashville this year. We're being aggressive with Jeff for the Red Kettle Challenge. We're having this issue. It's low unemployment. So it used to be that people needed seasonal employment, so they would ring the bell, and we have a few this year. So it's people on fixed income or people who need money.
Aren't most of the ringers volunteers, though?
Yeah, most are volunteers, but we have a lot that need a little seasonal money. Okay. Grandmothers who want to buy their children gifts, or people who have disabilities that are only allowed to raise to make so much money. And so some of those people, this is their seasonal income. And with all of those things changing, this allows us to say is, how do we continue? How do we become the ones who painted the kettle red? How do we put it online to make it? Or how are we the ones that changed what the bell sounds like? Right? I would dare say we had a great promotion with Nash, right? So Nash comes out with the big wrestling bell, and and Jeff challenges him and says, no, not the wrestling bell, the Salvation Army bell. And so how does Nashville lead the way in the nation to say we we believe in a high quality of life for every one of our neighbors. That when the Constitution says that Tennessee is for the peace, safety, and happiness of those who live here, we mean it, and that it's a collective promise and a collective commitment. And I believe that Nashville, this is the time and the energy that we can make these changes. And obviously Jeff is a strong voice in that. So we see him as a godsend.
Oh, absolutely. Listen, we'll take a break. We got one more segment with you.
I got a good story.
Okay, I want to hear it.
Me and Sean Henry discussed about this Thursday.
Okay,
you'll like
we'll
it.
hear that. Maybe take a few more phone calls. Our final segment with our guests as we talk about the Salvation Army. We'll be back right after this.